First off, I want to give all praises and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son YAHAWASHI, in the name of the Holy Spirit. In Hebrew, it's called Allah Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashai Bahashem Rahach Kodash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of GMS who taught me this truth. Salutations to all the brothers out there that's teaching this word in truth and sincerity and peace. Blessings and healings onto the elect and the multitude, because that's why we do these videos. And today, man, I want to talk about this. This is another Northern Kingdom video, North American and Latino video. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to explain some stuff. Now, this lady right here, she is a Native American, and she was talking about, you know, her heritage or whatever. She knows she's an Israelite or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But also, she used to say that her grandfather used to get together with men, you know, 12 men, and they used to go over their history, and she'd just be, you know, all over her grandfather, just listening and soaking all that information up. And now she's explaining, you know, her side, and that's in the scriptures too, man. I want to get this, because our people are waking up in the last days, man, and nobody's going to stop it. You know, blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Israelites. We are one family, and it is what it is. That's why they did what they did to a certain particular people. Okay, this is Acts 2:17. And it shall come to pass in the last days. We're in the last days, okay? Saith YAHAWASHI, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters, okay, who are YAHAWASHI's sons and daughters, the Israelites, okay, shall prophesy. So sons and daughters shall prophesy, and young men shall see visions, and old men shall dream dreams. And I've had visions, I've had dreams. You know, YAHAWASHI woke me up. He poured his spirit upon me. He told me who I was. And that's why I'm doing stuff like this, okay? But, you know, she was talking about her grandfather or whatever, you know, and she was saying that who the world calls Jesus Christ, Yahawashi came on this side of the world when he died and rose again. And you can read when he left, Acts 1:9. And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. This is when Yahawashi left the southern kingdom. No, after he dies and rose again, and then he came over here to America, man. Now, we can get this scripture. John 10:16, it says, and other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Okay, what's this mean? When Yahushua was born, he was born in Roman captivity. There was only 3 tribes in the eastern hemisphere at that time: Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The other 9 tribes were in the Americas. But how did they get over to the Americas? So Solomon, he was king of Israel. Okay, he went off. He fell from grace, and then you know what I'm saying? The curses fell upon his people, and they've been on his people ever since. It split in 2, into the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, as you see right here, okay? And when that happened, the Assyrians took down the northern kingdom, okay? They put them in slavery. The Assyrians put them in slavery. And I'm going to explain this while this video is playing or whatever. And when they went down, they all got together, and they fled into the Americas, and they was over there ever since. So when Yahushua, who y'all call Jesus Christ, when he was walking around in Roman captivity, you know, the Israelites was in Judea, you know what I'm saying? But there was only 3 tribes, okay? And that's why he said he has other sheep, not of this fold, because they wasn't on this side of the world. Them also I must bring. Yahawashi is rebuilding the whole house of David, okay? The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, because we split as a nation, okay? And that's why the so-called white man has tried to keep us from not coming together. But now we're coming together, okay? It says, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. Because what's this mean? The house of David is being rebuilt in the last days in front of our enemies, okay? In front of our enemies. That's why we're coming back as one family, okay? They don't want that, you know, just people in the comment board of this video that's going to complain, you know, but it is what it is. This is Tobit 13:9. O Jerusalem, the holy city, he will scourge thee for thy children's works, and will have mercy again on the sons of the righteous. He's going to bring us all together as one, okay? Give praise to the Lord, for he is good, and praise the everlasting King, that his tabernacle may be builded in thee again with joy. We fell as a people. We split into 2. The northern kingdom went down by the Assyrians, and then 100 years later, the Babylonians took down the southern kingdom, and we've been trodden down by the Gentiles ever since. Okay, it says, and let him make joyful there in thee those that are captives, and love in thee forever those that are miserable. Our people are miserable, okay? That's why Yahushua has to come and save the house of David. He's coming to save everybody. Well, the elect and the multitude, but, you know, the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans as a whole. Okay, he's going to rebuild the house of David again. Also, you can get Amos 9:11. And that day will I raise up a tabernacle of David that is fallen. We have failed. And close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as as in the days of old. So YAHAWASHI Mashai is rebuilding the house of David. Okay, that's why he had us go. He took y'all down, then he took down the southern kingdom. Okay, now we know the history of the Greeks all the way to the Romans, and then we know what happened to the blacks. Okay, they were shipped over here. We were oppressed together, man, so we can be saved together. You know, everything has its purpose, man. Everything has its purpose. Now, I want to get this. Revelations 21:3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. Okay, so he's rebuilding the tabernacle of David, man. Okay, he's gonna bring us together as one stick. Let me get this real quick. Ezekiel 37 and 17. And I'm gonna get 15. And the word of YAHAWASHI Mashai came again unto me, saying, Moreover, son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel and his companions, and then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions, which means something like this. Write it so when our people ask what it is, we can explain who they are. Okay, plain upon tables. It says, And when the children of the people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, Thus say YAHAWASHI Mashai, Behold, I will make the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be in thine hand. So we are the Lord's, battle axe, man. We're coming together as one. These people have a big problem with it. That's why it's about to be blackouts. That's why it's about to be food shortages. Because that was prophesied in the last days, but these people don't want us to come together. We're in Babylon the Great under the same captivity. Okay? Under the same captivity. It's a big Trojan horse over here, man. The Lord's people are oppressed together over here. And it was prophesied to happen. That's what Babylon the Great was talked about in the scriptures before, since the beginning, man. Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus say YAHAWASHI Mashai, post the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give his rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. Y'all fucked up the Lord's people, man. But it was always prophesied to happen that we would be safe in the north country together. Okay, it was always prophesied since the beginning. He even told Abraham this was going to happen. He even told Abraham we was going to be in captive into all nations. We was going to be scattered. It was a promise he gave to Abraham, and it has been fulfilled. Okay, so I'm going to get what she's saying, and then there's certain particular things that she says, but I'm going to get it in the scriptures and explain it, okay? Because she doesn't know where to go. But hey, that's why we use these videos, and we just break it down. So I'm going to let this lady talk, and then, yeah.
Yat Eitaneh, Masan and Nishla. This is Navajo Grandma again. And today we are going, my hair is going to be all over the place because there's a wind and my hair might stand straight up. And I've already had that happen without Grandpa telling me. And one of the things, my hair was straight up. So if it's wrapped around my nose and things, sorry guys, this is not a beauty contest. So this is the beginning of the video. The question that was asked, and again, this is another live video question. The question is it possible that the Dene are a lost Hebrew nation? And that was Amy Till who asked that question. Another portion that I felt went hand in hand with that is another statement. This is Dene Spiritual Beliefs Pre-Colonization by Marion Spring. And this is, can you see it? This is from Grandma. She wrote this out. And before we start, Navajo Grandma thanks Amy Till and Marianne Spring. Okay? This video is dedicated to you women. And I said, Aheha. Now remember, that means thank you. Aheha. Well, I'm gonna explain through, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 situations. And it should pretty much help you understand the answer to the question, or it will leave you to your own conclusion, which I would rather prefer. Marietta Wetherill was born in 1876 in Illinois. And in 1880, her family visited the Southwest. There she met her future husband, Richard Wetherill. In 1897, Richard and Marietta got married, and they moved to Chaco Canyon, where Richard he led excavations of the Pueblo Bonito ruins. It was called Pueblo Bonito. That was the main plaza, but the whole area was called Chaco Canyon. In 1908, as she was adopted, Marietta was adopted into the Chi clan by a Navajo man, a Dene, by the last name of Bial. They had established a trading post there. As they did this, now remember, my great-great-grandfather was there, Rafael Mescalito, and he had selected 13 Hatathi medicine men who were helping Richard Wetherill to excavate Pueblo Bonito. While they were there at the trading post, now there were 13 men, including my great-great-grandfather, while they were excavating and renovating the Pueblo Bonito, that one afternoon, Marietta came upon the men, and it was lunchtime, and they were in a circle. And she wondered what they were doing, and she kind of walked up to them and said, "What are you men doing?" And of course, she's speaking Navajo at the time. And one of the men said, "Well, we're drawing." And she looked over and she almost fainted, because the picture that they had been drawing, it was a layout of palm trees and elephants. There was Jerusalem, and she looked at the waters, and there was this big massive ship they had made. And they're like, and she says, "Where on earth did you get this? I mean, you're drawing this."
And I just want to make a point right here. That's why when the slaves came over here also, that they was singing, they call it Negro spirituals, they was singing about Jerusalem also. Okay? Point blank period. Okay, same thing right here with the Native Americans. You know, we know who we are, man. You know, now. You know, we're coming back into who we are because we lost our heritage. But like it said in the scriptures, YAHAWASHI shall pour his spirit upon all flesh.
You've never been off the reservation? And they all looked at her, and they told her, of course, this is our story. This is what has been handed down. This is where we came from. We came from the East. And she was in total disbelief. But she tells a story.
You know what the disbelief is when these so-called white people wake up to who they harmed. Okay? They slaughtered 300 million Native Americans, man. And who knows how many people died in the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, and so forth and so on. You know, it's just they can't compute that they did this to the Israelites. You know, that's why they'll scoff at it, they'll deny it, they'll do everything they can. But in the back of their heads, they know, man. Okay, they know what they did to us. Okay, and there's repercussions for those actions. It's in the scriptures. In the scriptures, it was told that Babylon the Great will be established, and that we will be oppressed together. And look what happened. We couldn't escape prophecy, so they're not going to escape prophecy. Okay.
Her own words, and did a recording. It was a shock to her, but I want you to know that there are ancestral oral histories that were handed down. It was handed down from all my paternal line, because I remember I'm living there, and from my great-great-great-grandfather, and it was handed down from Broad Rim Hat, and then to Rafael Mescalito, and then to Mescalito Nelson, who is my grandfather, and then, of course, it landed with me. So all of this information was incredible. Stories that were handed down, how we came to be in the southwest. Now, we're going to move on. When my grandfather used to meet, okay, he was a Hatathi, a medicine man. And he was exceptionally, I would say, you would always I always tell you he walked on water. He was so exceptional and very spiritual, prayerful to the hilt, obedient and incredible, and very, very wise. And so when I was in the Hogan with the 12 men, and they would first cleanse themselves, go to a trache, the sweat lodge, fasting. They would cleanse themselves, then they'd clean up and come into the Hogan, and all 12 of them would sit around in the Hogan. And again, I was behind Grandpa. I told you I was always behind him. And I was allowed there, remember, because I was non-menstrual. And so, and I was a little child. And I hung on to Grandpa. Well, when they were there were stories. I mean, there were oral histories. And they would bring out their, what you would call their seer stones. When they would sit in a circle, they all had a seer stone. Now, this is a big fat one. This is not a seer stone, but it was a rock that sometimes was, but it was round. And they would hold it in their hand, and they would see things in there. And they would share their history of the people there and everyone took turns in the room. And the things that they would speak about, and what I learned from these men, is that they would talk about the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. They would tell the specifics, and then they would say the prayer. And it was so profound, and I would end up crying because it was absolutely beautiful to listen to the crucifixion and the song and the prayer. Then added to that, they would talk about how our people came here. And some of the things that I wrote down was that my grandfather said we came from the east, and that eventually that Christ, after he was crucified, that he walked among the people. And I did say to you before, when we would be riding on a wagon and going through Chaco Canyon, he would slow down and stop and tell my Biji and me and those in the wagon, and he said that Christ walked here, that he blessed the people, he taught them, he healed them, and he blessed them. And he would tell them when he was ready to leave, and they were so sad. And he taught them the herbs, how to heal and heal themselves, you know, and to bless one another. And he left with them all of the things that he did for them so that they could do for themselves. And
That's why it says in Luke 10, you know, you got to get all this information because it's heavy information, especially because, you know, we're trying to wake up the Native Americans and Latinos, you know. The Southern Kingdom has already woken up a little bit. Now we just got to wake up the rest of the tribes. But, and the other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. And I just told you at the beginning of this video, you know what I'm saying, how it went down. Now, there's some other scriptures I want to give real quick. 2nd Ezra chapter 13. Let's go to 39 now. She said that her grandfather and her people said that they came from the east, which is correct. Okay, in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, it's going to explain how they got over here. Okay, and those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of the land, out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king. Now, where can you get that? I just told you that they they went into slavery. The northern kingdom went down to the Assyrians after Solomon fell, and then they fled into the Americas. Okay, This is 2 Kings 18 and 11. And the king of Assyria did carry away Israel unto Assyria, and put them in Halah, and in the harbor by the river of Gozan, and in the city of the Medes, because they obeyed not the voice of YAHAWASHI their power, but transgressed his covenant, and all that Moses, the servants of YAHAWASHI, commanded, and would not hear them, nor do them. Okay, so, our people went off, then they went into slavery. That was always a punishment to our people, man. You can get it in Deuteronomy chapter 28. It's a punishment because we are God's children. Okay, so he punishes us harshly, man. When your children get out of line, you got to spank them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28. It's the blessings and the cursings of the Israelites. And the Israelites are under the curses today. Okay, they're under all these curses right here. Okay, but if you go down to 49, YAHAWASHI shall bring a nation against thee from far, from one end of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue shalt thou not understand. Did that not happen to the Native Americans? As swift as an eagle flieth. Let's go to Obadiah real quick. Obadiah 1 and 3. The pride of thy heart have deceived thee that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, because, okay, the land of Edom, Mount Seir, okay, Basra, okay, south of Israel. That's where they used to live. That's where the so-called white man comes from. Okay, we were twins, paternal twins. We're not the same. You know what I'm saying? Whose habitation is high, that's safe in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. So this is talking about, people that represent themselves as an eagle. That's why it says that in Deuteronomy 28. Because YAHAWASHI made them represent themselves as an eagle. Okay? Edom represented himself as the eagle. Americans, Nazis, the Romans. Okay? The so-called white man always exalted himself as an eagle because YAHAWASHI made him like that. Okay? Going back to Deuteronomy, it says, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, and shall not regard thy person of old, and shall not favor the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle. Did he not do this to the Native Americans? This is a curse that will be placed upon our people, man. And the fruit of thy land until thou have been destroyed. They purged the Native Americans. They used to kill all the buffaloes. You know what I'm saying? They used to leave them out there. Our people used to cry when they seen it. Who also shall not leave thee either corn, man. Thanksgiving. We taught these niggas how to grow corn, and they slaughtered every one of us for doing it. That's why it's called Thanksgiving. Wine or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or the flocks of sheep, until he have destroyed thee. He shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high fence walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout the land. He shall besiege thee in all the gates throughout all the land, which YAHAWASHI thy God shall give thee. He gave you the Americas, you went off, so he sent Esau, Edom over here. Okay, as swift as an eagle, man. Okay, so going back to 2nd Ezra. So we know the story. Israel split. They went down. It says, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where neither mankind dwelt. So this is talking about the northern kingdom, after the Assyrian captivity, which we read in 2nd Kings. Okay, we read in 2nd Kings 18 and 11. You can also get it in 2nd Kings 17 and 6. But our people, they came together. They probably said, Solomon came over here to the Americas. He used to travel over there, which you can get in 1 Kings 9 and 1 Kings 10. Okay, I'm not going to read it, but, you can get it in there. And it was like, let's go over there. Nobody dwells over there. No humans, okay? Esau ain't going to be over there. Okay, so they went over there. It says that they may keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And that's why there's decalong stones in Ohio. That's where there's commandments written in Hebrew in New Mexico. That's why in Puerto Rico you got 800 stones with Hebrew writing in Puerto Rico authenticated. Okay, because our people were the Israelites, and it just is what it is. It says, and they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High then showed them signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For there, that country, there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, in the same region is called Ashtaroth. Then dwelt they until the latter time, and now they shall begin to come. So basically, YAHAWASHI showed them a way to get over there, and they did. Because prophecy had to take place. Babylon the Great had to get established, which is America, NATO, and the EU. Okay, the Israelites would have to be in slavery for Yahawashi to come and save them. He told them that. He told the southern kingdom that they would go into slavery after he left. Well, before he left, he told them they was going to go into slavery, okay? And they all fell by the edge of the sword, 70 AD, and shall be led away captive into all nations, transatlantic slave trade, Native American slave trade. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Now, in this prophecy, we will not be in power until Yahawashi will come back and his second coming and save us. And then all this stuff with the kingdom of heaven will be established. But before that, he told us that we would go in slavery. We would be led captive into all nations. One of the curses was, you can read Deuteronomy 28, that he would send a nation from far, as swift as an eagle. That's symbolism of Esau, Edom. He always represents himself as an eagle, America, okay? And then he would come save us from our enemies. But everything had to take place. Nobody can escape prophecy. I was just playing God of War. He couldn't escape prophecy, okay? No, we can't escape prophecy. We were oppressed together in America, which is called the North Country in the scriptures. You can look up North Country. Actually, let me get it right here. North Country, okay? North Country. All these prophecies, okay? This is Jeremiah 23. You know, this is a big prophecy right here. Let me go to Jeremiah 23 and 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahawashi, that they shall no more say, Yahawashi liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Let's keep reading. But Yahawashi liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the North Country. Wow. North America. Okay. And from all countries whither I had driven them, because we've been scattered all over the earth, and they shall dwell in their own land. This was prophecy of the last days. Jeremiah wrote about it. He knew we was going to be in Babylon the Great even back then. Things have to take place. Okay, we couldn't escape prophecy. Esau, Edom can't escape prophecy. We're under his blessing right now. And he's about to be taken out of his blessing by the ultimate Jew, which is Yahawashi. Okay, so this was always prophesied about, you know. So the Native Americans getting fucked up was prophesied about. They show favor nor to the old, no young. Okay, the Southern Kingdom being led captive into all nations. Okay, the transatlantic slave trade was prophesied about. And it just is what it is. And then we're going to get saved out of here and then put into the land of Israel by Yahawashi himself. Okay, but I think I explained what I needed to. And I'm going to just let this whole thing rock now. I'm going to let this whole video rock now.
And anyways, and then you would carry on and he would just continue to expound upon that. And I didn't really understand, but I came to know how true that was. When Christ would leave, and he appeared to other tribes, and then he would come again, and he would bless them again. And so it was an incredible experience that as I was at the feet of my grandfather and these 12 men, how they expounded upon the oral histories that they knew, that I knew, that meant everything to them. And it was their foundation, and they wanted to be sure to carry it on. And few Dene people know these things. And the argument is always, well, you know, the white people brought us Christianity. It is not, well.
No, man, they didn't, man. We're Hebrew Israelites. You know, Christianity is a religion. Judaism is a religion. If you think about it, these people made a religion out of what? Out of one nationality, which is crazy to me. They call themselves the Jews, and they don't know where the rest of their tribes are at. They made a religion out of Judah. That's a nationality. And then they told the black people, you're black, African Americans, Afro-Americans, Negro, okay, nigger, whatever, okay. You can't make a nationality out of somebody's These people are crazy, man. But listen, just like Pharaoh in Egypt, Yahawashi got some new Pharaoh now. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, and just is what it is. We gotta let things play out how they play out. Everything is written in the scriptures. One by one, they'll be getting knocked off, okay? And it is what it is. Everybody has their time. Their time was now. Esau has his blessing. It's coming to an end. We're going to grab his heel, take him down, and then the kingdom of heaven is going to be established on earth, and earth is going to be paradise. Okay, so yeah, going back.
They brought it later, but we as Native Americans and my people as the Dene people, they walked and talked with Christ long before the pilgrims came. They knew him, and he walked around among them. When you think about the drawing on, that these men had, and then think about what my grandfather and the 12 men spoke about, and they, you know, my grandfather said that they built a ship and they came across the great waters, and it was tumultuous, and they.
Okay, same thing in Second Ezra's, man. That's why I wanted to explain this video. But they took counsel among themselves, they was in Assyrian captivity, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, the Americas. Her grandfather, they all knew this, that they might keep their statues, which they never kept in their own land, and they didn't keep the statues. That's why YAHAWASHI came over here. He did what he did, probably saved the elect out of the northern kingdom, because you know what it says in Revelation 7. Okay, each of these tribes were sealed. So there's an elect. That's why I say in every video the elect and the multitude, because there is a multitude, which is the Israelites. But, you know, 12. This is going to be the new government on the earth. This is going to be how everything's ran out of 14,000 out of each. I mean, 12,000 out of each of these, which makes up 144,000. You know what I'm saying? And it explains how they got over here, man. It's just, come on, man. You know, these people are through, man. Y'all really did this to the Israelites, man. It's really crazy to me.
Came here to this land. They were in the east, and there was millions, eventually, of millions and millions of Native Americans that were, you know, that were just covered this land. And when they would fight, they'd have heaps of dead people. I mean, there could be 50,000, 60,000 of them killing each other.
So they had the curses on them, man. Even though they got over here, they still had their wars. You know, and that's why when you go to Deuteronomy 28, it talks about hating your brother, and y'all would kill one another. That's why these white people laugh about black on black crime, because brothers is killing brothers. They're the same people killing each other. But if you read the consequences of disobedience, we disobeyed the Heavenly Father. If you go down here and read these, you'll explain why our people are in this condition. It doesn't matter if you believe that there's a power or not. We don't really care what they say. This is for our people only. It doesn't matter what you look like, though, because we've been scattered, so we look like other nations as well. But the majority of us are black, Latinos, and Native Americans. But you can look like somebody else, you know, through, let's say if I have a baby with a white chick, and then my son has another baby with a white chick, so it looks like a white person, but it still is an Israelite through blood, okay, because the seed goes by the father. But going back.
But as the fighting continued and it became really bad, the people broke into tribes, and they went in many different directions. They went south. Grandpa says we came, our oral history is that we came south along probably kind of like Tennessee, or could be, I don't know, that just in my mind I'm thinking. And they came, could have been through Georgia or by Florida, and then came because they said it was warm, and then they came and across and ended up in the Southwest, and they longed for home across the big waters. They longed for that home.
They long for that home. We ain't going back home until YAHAWASHI brings us over there to the land of himself. Okay, somebody's imposter right now in that land, but we're not going home. We're not going to be free. We're not going to be, as it says in Deuteronomy 28, that we would, you know, we would be fucked up. Our mind state would be fucked up. You know, we wouldn't be at peace. We wouldn't be at rest. We're only going to be at rest until YAHAWASHI comes and get us in the second coming. Point blank period. We got to endure until then, because we disobeyed. That's why all this stuff happened. The consequences of disobedience. But it is what it is, man. Coming back to who we are now.
And sometimes I would see these men weep, because they said that's where we, you know, our umbilical cords were.
I just gotta keep getting more scriptures. He said they wept, man. Going back to Revelations, man. Revelations 21. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and they shall see no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall they be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. This is talking about a new heaven and a new earth. It's not talking about no other earth. It's talking about the earth we live on today. It's new. It's going to be refreshed. Okay, it's going to be made better. It's going to be brought into what it's supposed to be run into. The water's going to be clean. The food's going to be clean. The air going to be clean. The people's minds is going to not be fucked up because the so-called white man has fucked everybody's minds up. You know, you got. I saw a little girl saying she full. She a man now. Okay, weird.
Were buried there. Our ancestors' umbilical cords were buried there. But then again, they say, we came to this place where the four sacred mountains are. Now, our children, our posterity's umbilical cords are buried here. And this is always going to be a place that our hearts yearn for. And this is a sacred place for us. So that was kind of, that was the teachings that I received. Now, Grandpa and I have, we've done genealogy research and visited the Mi'kmaq tribe in Maine. This is, I can't explain and have you feel, unless you were there, how amazing it was to go in and meet the Mi'kmaq and to have one of the tribal members take us to the museum. And the things we saw there were memorable and actually a testimony of and supported everything my grandfather and these 12 men spoke about. They talk about their history as these turtle boats. Now, the turtle boats that they referred to were like this and conal shape, and they came across the great waters in that, and they ended up in the shores and came down the St. Lawrence River. And they tell you this, and then they get to the St. Lawrence River and they dispersed from there, and these people moved. They went up and they moved north. Now, as you know, the Mi'kmaq went north and they cover all of the different islands north, Nova Scotia, etc. They talked about, and these were, they call them turtle boats, I told you, little turtle boats. And there was an incredible amount in what we know and understand that that came. So once they made their home in Maine, you look at their, let's go with their language. Now, I don't know if you know what Reformed Egyptian is, but I will call it Reformed Egyptian. Some people laugh at that, but it is. And it was their written language that they brought with them, and they were still, to this day, they use it. The hieroglyphics that they use, the writings, the words they use.
Because our people, once again, came out of Egypt. That's why they got pyramids over here in America, man. After they fled Assyrian captivity, they came over here, okay? And that's why you got what you got over here, okay? But these people went off, okay? They went off, and that's why everything happened. The Lord was very angry with them, but he did bring them all the way over here because prophecy had to take place. Babylon the Great, the North Country, these things are coming, man. Getting saved from this place, but these things had to come to pass.
And they called this sometimes the Adamic language. And it's incredible to hear. The people, their dress, in their clothing, they have like a vest, but they have their prayer cloth underneath with the tassels. They wear that always. And then you see them when they go to the door, there's holes in the doors, and that's where they have their, he says they use papyrus. They fashion the bark, and they have their prayers, their sacred prayers, and they're on both sides of the doors. And when they go there, they repeat it, and they live by that. I mean, it was like almost. I thought, gee whiz, I didn't see. I didn't know the Jewish culture, and of course we started with Fiddler on the Roof, and you know what they.
And here she's confused, man. Jewish culture, Jewish culture, Judah culture, which is Israelite culture. Okay, all culture. This is our people. It's their culture. Okay. In the scriptures, it talks about people taking our heritage. Okay, taking our land by the Balfour Declaration of Rothschilds. Okay, talks about that in Ezekiel 36:5. You know what I'm saying? Everything had to come to pass, like I said. They took our identity. They're trying to make it their own. You know, and it just is what it is. That's why Esau has to be taken down. Okay, and like it says in the scriptures, Gad got taken down horribly by these people, which is the Native Americans. What is it? What's the prophecy on them? Let's get this. This is a prophecy in Genesis about Gad. Okay, who is Gad again? Let's go. The North American Indians. A troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. This was a prophecy of Gad in the last days. He got overcome. Okay, you seen what happened to him. She's saying Jewish culture. She's confused. You know, that's why you got people out here breaking it down. But, you know, a troop shall overcome him. He shall overcome at the last. Who overcame him? Who overcame the Native American Indians? I'll let you ponder on that.
They were like their prayers and the way they were, and it's so amazing because the Micmacs are similar in that, and they were very, very prayerful. I love these people. And so with that said, I mean, they continued, the whole museum was just mind-boggling, and how they came across, and the stories, they so related to what my grandfather had spoken. They talk about the wars and the things that happen and who they look forward to seeing again. It's incredible. So,
and YAHAWASHI is coming, man. He's going to take down our enemies.
When you put all this together, you realize that, see, here's the traditional, and here is what my oral history is. This is the teachings of my grandfather and these 12 men. And then we have the modern Dene people who haven't even asked. Most of them probably haven't even asked their grandparents, what is our tradition? Where did we come from? The only thing they will tell you is we came from Dok Oslid up there in Flagstaff, somewhere there. Then all of a sudden we're in Colorado. We came out of a hole there and it's sacred. See, my grandfather, that's why he never taught me the traditions. He said man can change traditions, but that's not the solid teachings that we know. And this oral history is solid. Our grandparents taught us generation to generation to generation. So many aspects of life that the history books can't tell that. But when you sit down and talk with a Native American and you talk with the elderly, you discover how critical and how amazing their story is. That it's not spewed all over. It's not taken for granted, but it's in here. And it's the whole spirit of this incredible oral history. And this is what I'm sharing with you.
And I'll put this video in the description down below because the brother went into, you know, also. But hey, man, it's powerful, man, what she said. You know what I'm saying? So she really doesn't know who she is. She's a Hebrew Israelite. She's probably a Gadite. That's her true nationality, a Gadite. You know, a troop overcame your grandfather and their people. You shall overcome at the last, okay? You shall overcome at the last. You ain't got to worry about it. That person your grandpa was talking about, which is YAHAWASHI, he's coming. He's going to do it big out here. Okay, so, like I said, I'll put this video in the description down below, but I went into the history and the scriptures, okay, to back up what I was saying. And it doesn't matter if you people believe it or not, because I know a particular group of people not going to. It is, we don't care what y'all say. We care about our people, okay? the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. And if anybody goes back to our people through the lineage of their fathers, you are an Israelite no matter what you look like. You can look like a so-called white person, but your great grandfather, okay, went back to the 12 tribes. That's why you feel like an outcast, even though you look like those people, okay, because you're an Israelite. Okay, so double honors unto the elders and apostles of GMS who taught me the truth and call Allah Yahweh Shem Shabbat Shem Kakadash.